Good evening, salutations, my GH fans. This was a good episode. I was just praising Days on how great the episode was and the fact that Days has been stepping up, and I can see that GH is like, oh, okay, hold my beer. I gotta sit there and say this episode was really good. I want to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. I want to talk about Michael and Sonny for a minute because Sonny came over to the house to try to talk to Willow, so that way, he can kind of start to make amends, with Michael and everything like that. Now, when Michael came in, Michael was like, don't really put her in the middle of this. You got to sit there and you want to talk to me about bridging the gap, talk to me. Don't sit there and put her in there. And I could 100% agree with that. It wasn't a fair position for Sonya to sit there and do. Um, but this whole argument, all this, boils down to, well, a couple of things. The whole divorce and everything like that, the stuff that Sonny did to Carly, you know, between that, him feeling like, Sonny sided with Nina with this whole thing, he's just done. He is so done. He is so done. Um, he wasn't really sitting there trying to listen to Sonny. There was one point where Sonny was like, "Well, your mom didn't really sit there and give us a chance," and I was like, "Oh boy." I was like, "Bro, we still doing this? If she would have gave y'all more of a chance after you cheat." I am so over that excuse. I am so over it. Michael said that he was done. He was like, "Yo, I'm done with you." Um, and I sat there and I was like, want to like just think about this for a minute. I mean, I get that Michael's angry, but to sit there and kick your dad out your life because he cheated on your mom. I mean, forever. And this isn't like, yo, I just need some time or whatever. I'm angry. He just kicked him to the curb forever. And I felt like that was a little harsh. It was very final. I was like, damn, Michael. And then Sonny, well, he didn't really help in the situation either. This man says something that I'm still just trying to contemplate. Like, I'm still just thinking about this. Like, bro, are you kidding me? He was like, all right, are you sure? Are you sure that you want this to be the end? He said that if you want my forgiveness, you're going to have to beg. He said this to his son. And he didn't just sit there and say that to one of his kids. He said that to his favorite kid. Yeah, he did actually admit a while ago that, oh, well, his parents are not really supposed to have favors, but Michael's my favorite. Not that that should really matter, but you literally said that your son is. This is after Michael was like, I was thinking about changing my name to Quartermain, but I want to um, bring back some goodness to the Corinthos name. Um, and this way we can just sit there and forget you forever. And this, that, and third. I was like, wow, that Jesus Christ, that hurt. I felt that. And Willow just had to sit there and sit through all of it. And and the previews are previews for the next episode. Willow's like, are you sure you want to cut your dad out your life for ever? I feel like that's kind of a lot right there. And this isn't like Michael's a teenager or anything like that. He's an adult that made mistakes. And while I'm not gonna sit there and say he made the same mistakes on Sonny's level, um, he has made mistakes, and it's one of those things where it sucks because he's a parent now, okay, and while I'm not excusing anything that Sonny has done, this is something that I think I heard in Y&R, when Victor was not there talking to Jack about how Victor was talking about his children. It's like, listen, as adults, I hope that they can understand the stuff that I've done. Them being parents themselves, and it's one of those things where it's like, hope Michael looks back at that situation when Wiley grows up and all the mistakes and everything like that that he's made, because you're human, that maybe he'll start to understand a little bit of where Sonny's coming from. A little bit. Um, okay, so we're gonna talk about this Marshall thing because I'm gonna be completely honest before I start a rant or a tirade or wherever the hell this is gonna go. I don't believe for 1 minute, and I cannot believe that the reason why this man left his children and his wife is because he got arrested and the judge sent him to a mental hospital. And that's why he stayed away all that time and pretty much practically faked his death. Because, I mean, let's be honest. We've been waiting for this reveal for a while, and we're like, oh man, he's going to be in WSB or with protection, or he's going to be, a new player in this whole mob game. And it's like, nope, nope. Yo, Courage was in that file. I would say he spent some time at the institution. That's why he left. Let me just get this straight. We built all this up, and this is the reveal. This is the debt that this man is in for working with the mob. I'm gonna pause just and take a walk because the things that are going on in my head, I'm just, I, mm, 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 mm. No, 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 just no. Anyway, they get into this argument, and Kurt's like, maybe back in the day, mental health, handling things was a little more different, and the stigma and everything like that. But we're father and son now. We can work this together, and Marshall's like, no, no, and whatever you find that foul, if it's not enough, then that's it, and I'm gone. I remember when a lot of people were sitting there saying that Trina should have just pushed him into the water and just hope that he couldn't swim. And we could just be done with this whole Marshall storyline. We could just I, I don't even know what to say about that. You know what? I'm gonna assume that it's more. I'm gonna assume that it's more, and that the writers just like, we're gonna fake you out with something really crazy. I'm waiting for that story because I don't know what that was, but I'm waiting for that real story because that's not it. That's not it. It's not it. It's not it. They have not been on TV for 59 years to pull that out their ass. We're just no. It's just no. So Diane comes in there into Alexa's office, and Alexa's like, I'm thinking about killing the story, and Diane's like, I'm sorry, what? What did you just say? And it's because of Harmony. She says because of Harmony, and after hearing the ultimatum that Harmony said, I mean, come on, everyone had that look on their face like you owe me. Sorry, excuse me, what you said? You said, She was like, yo, kick her ass to the curb. Tell that chick to kick rocks. That's literally what she was sitting there saying. And she did get through, Alexis, and, she was like, well, what was to happen last time that you played fast and loose with your instincts? So she gets Alexis to come on board, common sense and logic. And Alexis is like, I'm going to find her a place to live. I'm going to pay for her first and last month rent. And, have her stay at the Metro according to them, which is extremely generous. But, I mean, okay, you got the money, sure. But still, like, anyway, Carly gets there. Well, Carly gets to Alexa's place, see Harmony. Harmony's like, oh, I'm burning text files and stuff like that. I can't find a shredder, and I'm very old school, and identity theft and yada yada yada. So at some point, Carly's like, yo, so what's going on with you? You owe Nina a favor or anything like that? What's going on with you? And Harmony just lies and lies and lies and lies about, oh, Madeline Reed, I've known her through things and reasons and stuff. Okay? So after she lied her ass off about everything, even the comment about, when Carly was like, what did you mean by when you said Willow wasn't yours? Oh, well, I was just, sometimes we have our ups and downs, and Carly's like, yeah, but right now you're up. Like, y'all good. So why would you say that for? Yeah, well, I'm drunk sometimes. I just, yeah, sometimes I like to. I still think I'm back in that, that mode where we're not really so good, and you know, um, seems like you're thirsty. I'm gonna go get a pen and a paper and take your order. Are you a waitress now? What the hell are you talking about? So she goes upstairs, and Carly looks at that fire like, you know what? That chick's in there by that fire burning stuff just don't feel right. So she looks through some of it, and she sees some stuff about Neil and Harmony not being, Willow's biome. Harmony comes downstairs. Harmony's already ready to kill her. Okay, she has the needle behind her back, and Carly's like, "Yo, what the hell is going on?" So she confronts her. And Harmony's like, "Give me back that piece of paper." Neil was a drug addict. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not gonna work on her. You're acting all erratic again. Next thing you know, she tries to, stab Carly with the needle, and then they fight, or their soap opera version of fighting, and then the needle falls somewhere, and they both try to go and get it. And long story short, Carly didn't win, which is actually kind of surprising because yeah, Carly has money and this, that, and the third, but Carly can hold her own usually. There was a time period that Carly didn't actually have that money, and that she had to do what she had to do to survive. Um, but yeah, Carly didn't come out on top of that one. So now you got Carly in the back of the trunk or wherever, and Harmony is in the car, and she looked like she's about to just, take that brick and put it by the gas pedal, and have Carly go off a cliff because apparently, like, Port Charles has a lot of cliffs and mountains now. So that's where that's about to go. So Jordan has her team look through the footage and everything like that, and she's like, yeah, it's probably a jammer. So we're gonna look into it, and starts asking some questions. And I think when she leaves, Finn is like, yo, you gotta, like, even if you're not gonna stay here, you gotta stay somewhere. And Liz is like, no, I just don't want to leave. So we're back to that now. Okay, the one guy who was supposed to protect you is laying on the floor, and you don't want to leave because you have a feeling. Okay, cool. So we're you and your feelings. So Aiden gets there, and Aiden's like, it's the ghost of Franco, and he's like, oh, well, let's look through the Ouija board and try again, and Finn is like, listen, if it was the ghost of Harmony, I mean, if it was the ghost of Franco, do you really think he would want to hurt you, scare your mom, or anything like that? And whoever the stalker is, seems like when they burnt down Franco's building, they made sure that there weren't people downstairs. So whatever it is, they don't want to hurt anyone else. They just want to scare her. And to be honest, if they wanted to really hurt Chase, they could have. Instead of just a beep on the head. Um, so Finn kind of gets Aiden to come to some sort of sense of most likely it's not Franco, or maybe there's another human element that's involved, and he leaves and I guess goes back to Laura's, and Liz stays because she thinks it's still a good idea, and the internet thinks that it's Liz. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of the soap opera reviewers, especially ones that talk about GH, are convinced that is Liz. And there's another part. Well, there's another part that I didn't sit there and talk about of GH. But before I actually get into it, I want to give a shout out to another soap opera reviewer named Danny Bear 87. Her videos are called like GH reaction videos, or no, I think it's called GH reaction. Um, and she also talks about like GH and days and stuff like that. The reason there's two reasons why I'm snitching to mention her. One, she seems like she's actually a pretty good creator so far. Um, and it's actually really hard to find her channel. Like I only found it because I was looking um, at another guy named Andre Epps that normally does day soap operas, and I saw hers. And two, she's also thinking that it's Liz um, that's behind this whole, you know, all the stuff that's going on. And, that snit there thinking it's probably, a lot of people snit there thinking it's a DID story. Which is interesting because this was stuff that was done like in the 90s, early 2000s. It's one of those things that they don't really do anymore. It's kind of like oh man, they killed off a character, but he's really popular. So let's bring him back like two or three or four times, like Finn and Silas and I don't even remember the other two. I know one was Michael McBain. McBain, I think that's his name, but that's a whole other thing. So if they do a DID story, it will be interesting because I haven't done that stuff in a while. So yeah. Oh, let's talk about the last. That's the and Chase and Brooklyn scene. So yeah, Chase and Brooklyn scene. So Brooklyn was a little kind of upset because he was like, "You were supposed to be here hours ago. What's going on? I mean, it's nice flowers and everything like that, but where the hell were you?" And, Chase was like, "I was unconscious and I didn't really have your phone number." And so, there's one point they're about to kiss, but they stop because Michael comes in and Michael's like, "Yo, we gotta talk about Yale Game. Specifically, your dad. I want him on board." Now, what Michael said was that if they merged the companies, then it would somehow dilute Valentine's shares. I'm not really too sure on the specifics because when I was there reading comments, one person was like, Valentine would still have the majority shares, so it really wouldn't matter, but I'm not really too sure how that works. And we all know that GH likes to play fast and loose with, laws and things of that nature, like HIPAA or, whatever. Oh, and one other thing I want to sit there and talk about the Liz storyline. When they're like, oh, well, maybe it's the ghost of Franco. And I'm like, see, I would let that slide a little bit and be like, all right, maybe it's the ghost of Franco. So, a long time ago, there was a show called Port Charles. Port Charles, I missed that show. Port Charles was more on the fantasy side of, soap operas. But the thing that was interesting was that, well, it was in the same, universe that GH was in. And we all know that GH is more of a grounded show, but I mean, they did do crossovers back in the day, and I think they kind of retcon that whole thing, which is really sad. They try to make Port Charles seem like it was a book that Lucy wrote, but I'm not feeling that. So I mean, again, I would sit there and believe that it's like a ghost thing or whatever, but GH is so grounded that I don't really see them really doing that. Oh, so yeah, there was one point where they're about to kiss, and Michael's like, let's bring up the ELQ or whatever, and see, making sure that Ned is still on board, and Brooke like, all right, yeah, I'll talk to my dad. So we good? Good? Because I was kind of in the middle of something. I'm pretty sure you got things to do. So, Chase starts talking about memory lane and how much he misses playing a house with Brooklyn and, with Bailey and everything like that, and just kind of reminiscing. And one thing leads to another, and they're about to kiss, but oh no, they get stopped by Leo. Leo comes in, and Leo is pretty much like, "Where were you at?" Now, the copy that I was sitting there watching on Delmont, copy I was sitting there watching on there, kind of phased out a little bit. So I don't exactly remember what Chase said as far as his reasoning for um not being there, but they do sit there and talk about the poem. And Leo was shy. He didn't want to sit there and do his poem in front of a bunch of people. Like, it's kind of nerve-wracking. So Chase started talking about you know how he was nervous when he started singing, and they started talking about Brooklyn's song and how he sang along to Brooklyn's songs. And so long story short, they got him to open up, and Leo did sit there and say his poem. And to be honest, it was actually a really good poem. I liked it. Um, so he did that. It was a nice little moment, and yeah. Mm, feel like that's about it. So yeah. Before I go, like I said, her name is Danny Bear 87. She also does GH reviews. She calls it reaction videos. I'm not really entirely sure why it's called reaction videos. Um, but like I said, there's another person that does soap opera reviews as well. There's actually a lot of people that do soap opera reviews. I was talking to DC Sanctuary, and he pointed me to another person that does soap opera reviews. Um, Hell, actually, tell you the truth, she does what I do as far as doing all four of the reviews. I mean, all four of the shows. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I feel like if she changes her title, well, Danny, I feel like if she changes her title, then it might be easier to sit there and find. Of course, when you type in GH review, I think I come in at number 7 or 8. If YouTube is being generous to me, this is after you know list of Brock TV stuff. Eventually, I do come up. Um, but I wanted to sit there and give her a shout out because I was going through a lot of her reviews and stuff like that. I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. And yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.